Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video we are going to discuss about what is virtual machine and the features of virtual machine like template, clone, snapshot. Let's get into the video. What is a virtual machine? A virtual machine is a software representation of a physical computer and its components. So the virtual machine is just similar like your physical machine, but it is like a software defined machine. So when you create a virtual machine, you'll be having a following options. Like as you can see in a screen, you can set up your CPU, memory and a hard disk, network adapters, CD DVD drives just to mount if you have any ISOs to be mounted. So similarly, we also add an option of increasing our CPU, RAM when the virtual machine is in power on state. So for that we have an option. While launching a virtual machine, we can enable a hot CPU and hot memory. If you enable this option, you don't need to shut down your VM. You can directly increase your CPU and RAM when your VM is on power on state. Now comes to our next one, VM files. So what files will make up a VM here? .nvram. That means like VM name .nvram. .nvram is nothing but a BIOS file. How, like when you boot your system, you'll be having a BIOS running for your physical machine. Similarly, there is an nvram file which runs as a BIOS for this virtual machine. .vmx file. VMX file consists of the configuration information of an VM, our virtual machine. So .vmdk. .vmdk file is your hard disk file, but generally the vmdk file is a descriptor file. We have a flat.vmdk file which you can't be able to view it from your web client. You need to log into a command line or you need to use your desktop client to view that flat.vmdk file. The actual disk is a flat.vmdk file and your vmdk file is just a descriptor file. .vswap file. So vswap file is a file which is having a space configured with exact space of memory which is given for the virtual machine. This vswap file helps when there is a memory overhead in a EXXI host. Now comes to VMware log file. VMware log file has like all the logs. At last we have a VM tools. What is a VM tool? Once the virtual machine is configured and installed with an operating system, we also need to install a VM tools. It is just like a drivers which you install for your physical machine. Now in 6.7, the hardware version which is used is 14 and it supports 12 vCPUs and 6 TB RAM for one virtual machine. You can see the options which were there once you right click on a VM, like you can power it off, power it on, guest OS, shutdowning, creating a snapshots, open console. Like you don't need to take an RDP or SSH to your virtual machine. You can directly take a console from here and you can give your credentials and log into your virtual machines from here. So migrate is an option that migrate this virtual machine to other EXXI hosts. If we want to migrate a virtual machine to other EXXI host to just do some maintenance or else to just to balance our resources, we'll be using this option. And clone we'll be discussing in our next slide. Template, as you can see, these are the options which we'll be having for a virtual machine after creation of it. Next slide. Template. What is a template? A template is an image that typically includes guest operating system applications and specific virtual machine configuration. So you can convert your virtual machine into a template by just right clicking on a virtual machine, and if you go for template, you'll be having two options like convert to template or export OVF template. If you go with a convert to template, your virtual machine will be converted into a template, that means .vmtx file, and you can deploy further more virtual machines with the help of a template. Suppose in your organization you have to configure a 20 VMs with the same application installed on it. We can go with the creating a one virtual machine, configure an application on it, and we can create that virtual machine into template and we can deploy the other 19 VMs with the help of this template. So what is an export OVF template? Export OVF template is nothing but you your virtual machine can be converted into template and it can be downloaded into your personal machine, where you can take that file to the another vCenter to deploy a virtual machine. When you convert a virtual machine, so if we want to deploy a virtual machine from a template, you'll be having the following options. Before going into clone, the advantage of template is like you can create a template. While deploying a template, you can assign your IPs in your configure network so that there won't be any IP conflicts after deploying a mission. So now comes to clone. What is a clone? Exact copy of VM can be cloned either by power on or a power off mode. That means you want an exact copy of your virtual machine. Now you may have a doubt like, what is the difference between template and a clone? Template is just like an ISO image you having with you, so you can deploy a virtual machines with the help of a template. And a clone is not a ISO image, it itself is a VM. So when you go with the option clone, your VM will be cloned and another VM will be created. So exactly like with same IP address with the same system ID, when you go with the cloning options, you will be having a following options: clone to a virtual machine, clone to a template. What I told is like, if you want an exact copy of a VM, you can clone it to a virtual machine, and if you want to clone this virtual machine to a template, you can clone it to this option. So what is what is like creating a convert it to template and a clone to template? So when you go with the convert it into template option, as you can see, when you go with the convert to template, your actual VM will be converted into template. So and when you go with the clone it to template, what happens is like your VM will be there and another copy of a creation of a template will be created. Now let's go to our next slide, snapshot. What is a snapshot? Snapshot freezes the state of a virtual machine. Snapshot provides the change log of virtual disk and use it to restore the virtual machine to a particular point of time. So snapshots, for example, let's go with this animation. I have a VM. This is my VMDK file where all my OS files is existed. So I have created a snapshot 1 so that this VMDK disk got freezed. Then I have installed patches on my virtual machine and my virtual machine is still running good. If I want to perform any changes on my virtual machine, then those changes will be written on the new disk. It doesn't write on my actual VMDK. So after a snapshot, there will be a new disk created with the same size of our VMDK file, and your changes will be written on it. So I'm going further and creating one more snapshot. So I also freezed the one more disk where I have installed my patches. Now I have done some configuration changes on that VM. So those configuration changes were updated on this upgrade config disk. Assume like my upgrade configuration on this virtual machine doesn't work well. So in that case, I want to go back to my restore point where I have installed my patches and my VM is fine with those installation patches. In that case, I'll select an option revert to my previous snapshot. So I have when I selected my revert option, it went to my previous snapshot, and if you can see here, all the changes from now which I'm gonna write it will be written on this installation patch. So after this installation patch, we'll be writing all our changes. So if we want to install something, we want to change some disk space or something, so we reverted back, so it will be done on installation patch. Coming to our next option, delete. So what happens if you delete a snapshot? If we delete a snapshot, the snapshot will gets consolidated with the bottom disk. That means if you have two snapshots, like here I deleted a snapshot, so the snapshot 2 got deleted and the disk came and consolidated with the installation patches, and What happens if I delete all? Same thing. If I have some two snapshots and I have deleted I have selected an option to delete all the snapshots, so that all the snapshots will get consolidated and the changes will be added to the vmdk file. So this is about a snapshot. So how to so snapshot has an options, like if you right click on your VM and if you go for a snapshot, you have a three options, like take a snapshot, reverse to the latest snapshot, and manage snapshot. Now let's go to the lab and create a virtual machine and also create this template, clone and snapshots. Let's get into the lab. In my previous lab we saw how to create a data center, creation of a cluster and adding a EXXI host to the cluster. Now in this lab we'll be creating a virtual machine, creating a template, creating a clone, and also we'll be creating a snapshots. So let's get into the lab. For creating a virtual machine, you need to right click on a host, create a new virtual machine. So click on next, give the virtual machine name. I'm giving my virtual machine name as, click next. Select the host where the VM need to be deployed. In our case we have added only one EXXI host here, so I'm selecting that EXXI host. Then click next. We need to select the data store where the VM resides. If you have another data stores, you can also select other data stores. It should be compatible with 6.0 and later version, and click next. So this is the customization hardware. If you want to enable hot plugin, please click on CPU here. You'll get a drop down. There will be a drop down, enable hot CPU. After that we need to go to memory and enable hot plugin here. You can also do this after creating a VM. Click on next. This is like, you can see your VM name, which data center it is and to which EXXI host it is been created in, all the configuration here. Now click on finish. That is 100% your VM got created. Let's go and see. So here is my VM got created. So our next task is to create a template. So right click on this VM. Make sure for creating a template your VM should be in a power off state. Here my VM is power off state. So go to template, convert this VM to template. As you can see, my virtual machine is converted into template. Go to VMs and templates here. You can see a template here. So our next task is to deploy a virtual machine from the template. So right click on the template. You have two options, like you can convert this template into virtual machine back again, or you can deploy a new virtual machine with the help of this template. I'm going with deploying a virtual machine with this template, giving a name to my virtual machine here, 10.1 VM2. So click on next. You'll be having a similar steps like what you got while creating a virtual machine. We'll be deploying it in our EXXI host, which is already present in our vCenter. So click next again. Storage, the same data store which is available. Click next again. So if you want to do some customization to your operating systems, like giving a license key, changing an IP address and all, you need to check this customize operating system. If you want your virtual machine to be power on after the creating a virtual machine, you can check this on. Now my virtual name is like 10.1 VM2 template. I'm creating it on India data center with the EXXI host which we have now. Click finish. This is gonna deploy my virtual machine now. As you can see, my VM is ready here. My VM got deployed. As you can see, 10.1 VM1 is my template and 10.1 VM2 template is the virtual machine which got deployed from this template. Now we'll clone this virtual machine using a clone option. So right click. For cloning a virtual machine, you can keep your virtual machine as a power on state or a power off state. So for cloning a virtual machine, we have two options, clone to virtual machine and clone to template. So we will go with clone to virtual machine. So I'm giving my virtual machine name as clone. Click on next. We have to select the host here. So click finish. My virtual machine is getting created, cloned virtual machine, as you can see it here. You can see my cloned machine is ready. It's an exact copy of this virtual machine. So next thing is like creating a snapshot. Now we'll go with creating a snapshot. Now we'll go and create a snapshot for this VM. For that, right click on a VM or go to the actions. Currently the VM is having a 1 CPU. Now I'm creating a snapshot on it. Later I'll be increasing the CPUs. Take a snapshot. So I'm going to increase CPU, so I'm keeping the snapshot name as increase CPU. Snapshot is created. I'm going to edit settings. I'm gonna increase the CPU count to 2. Click OK. Now you can see the CPU count is 2. I'm gonna create a one more snapshot here for increasing a RAM. I'll go back and I'll make this memory to 1 GB from 512 MB. Click OK. Changes are getting updated to my VM. Now you can see my VM is having 2 CPUs. In snapshot 1 I have increased the CPU, in snapshot 2 I have increased the memory to 1 GB. Now go to manage snapshots. Manage snapshot. As you can see, you are here. That means the changes which you are performing on a virtual machine are getting righted here. Here you can see both the snapshots, like before increasing a CPU, and this is before increasing a memory. So I don't want this memory to be increased. I want to revert back to the state after the CPU increase. So just click on the snapshot 2 and just click on revert to. Click yes, close it. Now the state of the VM is getting updated. As you can see here, your memory state is updated to 512 MB again. Now we'll go back to the snapshot. Click on delete snapshot. Here your snapshot got deleted, but your data is not consolidated because before deleting a snapshot you have reverted the snapshot. That's the reason the changes which has happened after the taking a snapshot is not got consolidated. So we can see here we have a 2 CPUs. So if we go to manage snapshots and delete it, if you delete increasing CPU, that changes which has happened on that CPU will be applied to the virtual machine. That means it gets consolidated. So I'm clicking on delete snapshot here. If I go to revert snapshot, the changes which is done by increasing CPU will also be like reverted back, and my CPU will be like 1 CPU, but I want 2 CPUs to be there, so I'm just deleting this snapshot so that it will get consolidated. So this is end of this session. Hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe for more videos.